Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Okay, so people are clarifying this. I couldn't think of the math. I was thinking if we stay with daylight savings time, instead of falling back, it'll be, I figured it would be darker longer in the morning. It's darker longer in the mornings when we fall back. So if we don't fall back, then maybe it's not as dark as long. Is that right? I feel like
I'm just completely flummoxed here.
All right. So for those of you watching YouTube, all right, let's do this. Here's the sun. All right. The sun is here. All right. You watching, John Bird?
Okay. Yeah.
This is the sun. Okay. This is time. All right.
Okay.
This is 6 a.m. and this is 6 p.m.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. Got it.
So if. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Never mind.
Man, you had me. I mean, I was.
I was gonna say if you shift it, like if you shift this back, like a fallback, then yeah, it would be darker longer because you're going backwards. But if you stay sprung forward, because that's what we are now, we're all sprung. We're sprung forward. If you stay sprung forward, it's not going to be as dark in the mornings. The sun's going to come up sooner this winter than it has in previous winters because we did not fall back. Is that right? I mean, that makes sense, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong?
I don't know. But we got people calling in, so they may be correcting. They may have the answers.
Well, y'all call me and correct me because I don't know what I'm talking about. Bird Dog says. He said, daylight savings time in winter, we won't get daylight until 8 a.m.
With this new proposal?
But how is that? Because we're sprung forward. So we're further ahead in the day, which means...
Yeah, we're not.
Am I wrong about that?
We need a physicist to call or a...
Because, like, the daylight, the amount of daylight we get changes naturally, right? Because as we get into the fall and the winter months, the day gets shorter, right? The daylight gets shorter. And so that changes, but, you know, I don't know. I'm just going to the phones because I don't even care. I just...
Oh, here we go.
My brain hurts. What's it say?
No, nothing. I don't know.
Mark's in Trustful. Mark, what's up?
Hey.
Hey.
This is not the first time that this has been talked about. In fact, when I was in high school, they postponed moving it back in the fall, and we went to school on daylight savings time, and what wound up happening was the kids were standing at the bus stop in complete darkness, and they thought that was a security and safety issue, so they changed it back. So that's what the whole deal is.
Yeah. Okay, so, well, but that's not answering my question is, like, is it going to be darker in the mornings since we're staying on? Because this bill has, well, it's just passed the House. It's got to pass the Senate
it's
as well.
It's going to be darker. It's going to be darker for a longer period. So if you're talking, it's 5 o'clock in the morning right now, you know, however dark it is, you know, if you stay on it and the days are getting shorter, and it's going to be darker longer in the morning, which is what happened when I was in high school.
Okay, so if we stay on springtime, it's going to be darker longer in the mornings.
Right.
Okay. I don't understand how that's possible. I mean, I'm not questioning you. That's what everybody else is saying, but I just don't understand how that works. But I don't have.
Well, I can't explain it mathematically. I just know I went through it.
Yeah.
And that's why they went back to going back to standard time in the wintertime or in the fall.
Okay. Well, all right, Mark. Well, I appreciate it, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me go over to Hippie, because Hippie's a farmer, and that's where all this started in the first place. We did daylight savings time for farmers, and he probably knows the answer. Hippie, what's up?
Yeah, hey man. Yeah, it's going to, according to how far west you live in the central time zone. All right, here in the Birmingham area, it's going to be dark at 7 o'clock in the morning.
In the winter,
in the
if we don't
middle
fall
of
back.
winter.
So if we don't fall
usually,
back.
it's just going to, whatever time the sun come up when it was standard time, it's going to be an hour later.
But how is that possible when we're staying sprung forward?
Well, see, you move forward. Your clock moves forward.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So we're just okay. Now it's making sense. I don't know why I was thinking.
And so you figure, all right, whatever time it gets daylight right now, count the days. It's about a minute per.
Yeah.
That you morning and night that you lose daylight.
Okay, so I don't know what I was thinking here. That makes more sense when I think about the fact that it's just the clock moving forward and not anything else. So we're just kind of changing what we define as, in this case, 7 o'clock. So it's still the same time in reality. We're just it's like, identifying as a woman. Like if you were to identify as a woman, you're still a man, but, it's okay. All right. I got it. Okay. That makes sense now.
Well, it's that thing that people always say, time changes. Time doesn't change. We change our life in relation to time.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So you can't change time.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Anyway, man, y'all have a good one.
All right. Thank you for squaring that away. I don't know what I was thinking, John Bird. So you got to think of it in the sense of, all we're doing is people identify as certain things, like identify as dogs or trans or whatever. We're identifying 6 o'clock as a 7 o'clock, right? So where it was dark at 6 o'clock after we fall back, it's still getting dark at that time, but that 6 o'clock is now identifying as 7 o'clock because we're staying sprung forward.
Okay. What about the people on the West Coast? They're going to have it rough, aren't they? They have it real rough.
Well, yeah, but it gets, the sun comes up a lot later for them than it does for us.
Yeah. So at 6 o'clock, it's dark, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's going to be dark for us. It's going to be dark at 7 o'clock. And the sun probably was not going to come up till like 8.
Well, I don't want that.
That's wild to think about.
I'd rather be a little late for church twice a year.
So we're sacrificing with this. We're sacrificing the morning and not having sunlight until like 8 o'clock in order to have more daylight at the end of the day. So instead of the sun going down at 4:30, we're going to get it at more like 5:30. So
I have no clue.
So are we now that we actually understand the mechanics of the daylight savings time? Are we all changing our mind now about whether or not we want it?
Well, I mean, what do you think?
I mean, you think about people going to work at 7 o'clock, kids going to school. I mean, kids have got to go to school in the dark.
Yeah. And then you got, your upperclassmen that are driving in the dark, your 16-year-olds, think of the P. Diddy having to drive in the dark.
Right. I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't really affect us.
Yeah.
You know, you and
Not
I.
during the week, no.
No, but you know, you better have your sad lamps ready in the wintertime. It's gonna be dark.
Yeah, well, could this help seasonal depression, or does it make it worse?
No, it would make it worse because it would be darker longer. So
It's not going to be darker longer, though.
Well, that's the perception.
It's that doesn't change. All we're doing is identifying the time differently. We're identifying what would normally be 6 a.m. as 7 a.m.
Right, but it's still going to be dark at 7 a.m.
Right.
That's an extra hour to be depressed. You see?
But it's the same amount of time. Well, that depends on when you wake up.
Right.
So, yeah, if you wake up at 6 o'clock and, you know, you're used to only being depressed for an hour, now you got to be depressed for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, maybe sleep in.
But maybe you start getting up at 7
Of course,
o'clock.
if you're depressed because of seasonality depression, you're probably going to sleep in anyway.
Maybe instead of, if this happens, maybe everybody across the board, like employers, change the times that people work.
Oh, no. Let's not do that.
And just everybody has to come in, work an hour later, and stay an hour later.
No. That would be a
Or really stick it to the man in the daylight saving times and be like, yeah, we're just going to change our schedule to fit what was recently the fallback.
I think early risers would be okay with that, but people that sleep in a little later would not be, because they want to stay up later.
It's going to be super weird.
Gosh,
I'm
scared.
Thomas, what's up?
Not much. Your last caller kind of summed it up. But the easy way to look at this, the sun does what the sun does. Our clocks are not going to make the sun act any different.
Right.
And like you said, the best thing to do is adjust your clock to what the sun does, not try to make everybody abide by it. Me personally, I would just like to have it on standard time all the time. But regardless, I'm of the mindset, set it and forget it. After a year, we wouldn't be talking about this because it's the way it is. We wouldn't think anything else about it. Just like we thought nothing about what it's doing now for the last 50 years.
Maybe we should all go back to using sundials. And
there you go.
And then the only time you can check your phone to see what time it is if it's cloudy outside.
Yeah, and I hate to get when I hear the thing, it's about the children. Well, over here in Georgia on the Eastern Time Zone in the fall months, it's still 8 o'clock. It's still pitch black over here.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, the kids are still in the bus riding around and it's pitch black. So, you know, it's like you can't do it for everybody. But I just say leave it alone, and after a few months, we'll think nothing else about it.
Yeah. We'll see. Again, we got to wait
All
and
right.
see if this passes the Senate, but it'll
Sounds
be
good.
interesting. All right, thanks, Thomas.
Well,
You know-
hey now.
Hey now. Hey now.
You know what? I didn't think about this, Andrew, but you know what? Youth crime may go up because you think about it. If a bus is dark, you're probably smoking reefer or something like that, and the bus driver can't see. You think
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
Doing the doobies.
Maybe so. 205-545-9950. Quick break. Coming back on the other side. Y'all hang tight. Chris says it's more depressing when it gets dark at 4:30 with the fallback, 4:30 p.m.
You know what Wayne called in during the break was something I think would take care of all of it. He said that winter solstice, which is the shortest day of the year, it will be like that. But every day, it will start getting lighter earlier.
So when does it start getting darker? When does the decline start before the incline starts? You turn your mic
It starts
on, buddy.
with winter solstice, and let me explain. See, winter solstice is the shortest day of the year.
How about I just read these texts and you
And-
can yes, let's keep going. Trucker Bobby says, easy fix, just have the school start at 9 a.m. in the winter, and now the kids are not standing in the dark.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, winter solstice, I now remember, is Monday, December 21st at 10:50 a.m. Woo, boy, that's specific.
This one says, just meet in the middle and move it back 30 minutes. Boy, that'd screw everything up. Yeah, Zach said the same thing. Split the difference and only fall back 30 minutes. Then lock it in. Billy says, you're wrong about crime. It may go down. The kids will be in school when it's dark, and it'll be lighter longer. What?
And now I'm only talking about the ones in the buses. You know.
The weed heads.
Yeah.
In the buses.
Mm-hmm. They may be carrying knives and things like that. I mean, you just don't know.
This one is from Deb. She said, I'm looking forward to permanent daylight savings time and hope it passes.
You think it will?
I don't know. I mean, I think probably. Let me see what the count was on the House side. The bill is called the Sunshine Protection Act. It passed 308 to 117. So there's a good chance. I think the Senate may have already passed it once. And it was like a 48 to 1. Let's say, here we go. In 2022, the Senate unanimously approved the Sunshine Protection Act. However, it stalled over concerns about dark morning commutes. The Senate passed a measure failed to advance in the House in 2022. So, yeah, the Senate passed it once in 2022, but the House wouldn't pass it. Now the House has passed it, and it's up to the Senate. So,
yeah. Well, you know what? On YouTube, Kelly has got it figured out to go along with Wayne. Okay, the decline starts the day after summer solstice, which is around June 20th. So it's gradually getting darker until December 21st when it's dark, dark, dark. And then it starts getting lighter.
okay.
That makes sense. Okay. All right. That answers it.
Mike, the window guy, working in Vestavia. What's up, buddy?
Oh, all right. Hey now,
Hey
JB
now.
and Andy.
Oh.
Oh, doing good. One stat that my son, who's in the healthcare industry, said that the days that you turn the clock back or move it forward are the deadliest days of people dying in the United States. So this may save lives, just keeping it like it is. Just pointing that out.
I wonder what the reason for that is.
No idea. People's normal activities, being the same.
Interesting.
Your normal routine getting interrupted. Check it out for yourself, but I believe him. He's smarter than me. So,
Yeah.
Hey, good show. I got to get back to work putting in windows. See y'all later.
All right, buddy. Thanks, Mike. Maybe people are stabbing each other over arguments of daylight savings time.
So my theory doesn't seem so stupid after all, does it?
That's true. That's true. You go to somebody says, I like daylight savings time. And he's like, well, I don't like it. And it's like, well, it's good. Let me tell you why. And then boom, they get stabbed.
Mm.
Don't argue with people about politics, religions, or daylight savings time. You'll get stabbed. Every time. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm over here choking. Also, the House. It's happening, by the way. The House voted 215 to 211 in favor of the special rules resolution to add the Save America Act to the National Defense Authorization Act. That's right. So what this means, this is piggybacking off of what I told you guys yesterday about the proposed rule by Anna Paulina Luna, which was called the MIRV, the process known as MIRV. It said let's see. According to Copilot, the House had shut down on June 30th after 13 GOP holdouts, including Representative Anna Paulina Luna, rejected a procedural vote to debate attaching the Save America Act to the NDAA via MIRVing, a process of bundling unrelated bills into one package. Luna and others insisted the bill must be in the NDAA's text, not just attached, to prevent the Senate from stripping it out. So that, my friends, is a big win, and we'll see what the Senate does on that front. So that's pretty big news. Mike Johnson, after that, then proposed using the MIRV to merge the SAVE Act with the NDAA and other must-pass bills, but holdouts like Luna initially opposed, warning it wouldn't guarantee Senate inclusion. Over the next days, Luna signaled she would accept the MIRV if the SAVE Act was attached to all appropriations and must-pass bills and sent to the Senate as one package. So Anna Paulina Luna is trying to cover all bases here and make sure that the Senate gets hammered with this and gets put in a position where they don't have any choice but to pass the SAVE Act. God bless her, man. She is just the best, and I don't think she gets enough credit for it. Noto Roofing bringing you this part of the show. NOTOroofing.com, NOTOroofing.com. Y'all hit them up. Let them know I sent you. And get that free roof inspection, complimentary roof tune-up, and all the things is coming along with that. You got to get that taken care of. It is vitally important and a very important part of your home and your overall structure. Because if you ain't got a roof, what do you got? You ain't got nothing. Your house is gonna be flooded like that chick on the stripper pole out in Texas, and you don't want that. So get it looked at and then decide what you want to do. 205-848-2299. It's 205-848-2299. Online, NOTOroofing.com. So all of that brings us to what is going to happen tomorrow night. And I think that's going to be also a very big deal, although I don't know the details of it other than it has to do with election security. There is a possibility that Donald Trump is going to be presenting evidence to the country of election fraud and foreign interference in the 2020 election and maybe even in the 2022-2024 election. So everybody can see it right there, what evidence they have thus far of this interference, foreign and domestic. And that has got the left freaked out. As a matter of fact, AOC is demanding that networks censor Trump's upcoming speech on the free and fair elections, claims an ethical obligation not to air lies about our elections, she says.
Just trying to hide it from the people.
And that's what sucks about the fact that it even got out there. I kind of wish it would have been kept secret. But somebody within the White House leaked the information to MSNBC saying that that's what this is going to be about. And so that gave them the opportunity. It gave them, 3 days to go ahead and start spinning the narrative and giving Democrats the ability to do stuff like this and saying, you can't carry that. That's propaganda. It's lies. You got an ethical obligation as a journalist to not carry comments made by the president from the White House. Could you imagine those words ever being spoken back in, 50 years ago? Journalists being like, "Oh, we can't tell you what the president says. That is a breach of our journalistic standards." She told reporters on Capitol Hill that she does not believe networks should contribute to, quote, any platforming of lies about our election, and that media outlets should review transcripts of Trump's speech in advance before deciding whether to air them live. Wow. Here's the thing. If the facts are on your side, you wouldn't worry about censoring people. Like, that's not what people on the right side of an issue do. You don't censor the other side. You just present your evidence that what they're saying is wrong. But that's not what they're doing here. They're just trying to straight up censor the president. And by the way, they've done it before. Donald Trump was still the sitting president between the days of January 6, 2021 and January 20th, 2021. and they deplatformed him everywhere and tried to keep you from hearing from the President of the United States. Social media companies, media outlets, reporters actively worked so you didn't know what the sitting president of the United States was saying. Think about that. Think about that happening in the U.S. of A. And then those same people that did that lecture you on the First Amendment and freedom of the press. What? What? What are you talking about? She says, I don't think we should be contributing to any platforming of lies about our election. Many news outlets oftentimes may receive transcripts, and I think we have an ethical obligation to not air things that undermine our election that are not rooted in evidence and facts. She followed up by saying, of course, it depends on the contents of his speech. Here's what Trump said yesterday as far as what this speech is going to be about. He said, it's really, really big for us and our country has to shape up. But that's what we're going to be talking about. It doesn't get bigger because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country. We'll be discussing other things too, but it's going to be a very big announcement. Washington Post, President Trump is planning a primetime address Thursday that will use findings from re-examined government files to argue that the country's election infrastructure has vulnerabilities, according to two people briefed on the plan. Report said the president could use the address to press his longstanding allegations of foreign interference in the 2020 election, the results of which he has never accepted. The speech, in part, will highlight claims that China accesses U.S. voter data, said the people who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss a plan that has not been made public. Trump is also expected to discuss findings related to Venezuela. And think about this when it comes to Venezuela, right? So there is speculation that Venezuela is involved in these stolen elections in these in this country in certain ways, whether it's through election voting machines or whatever. It would have been easy for Donald Trump to make the call to just go into Venezuela and take out Maduro and blow up his compound or whatever. But they didn't. They went in there and extracted Maduro, brought him to the U.S., threw him in prison, and now have access to whatever information they may have that leads election fraud back to Venezuela. So maybe that has something to do with it. It's going to be interesting. I think this is going to be maybe one of his bigger announcements, and I hope this is going in a direction that I think it is. Now, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong about what he's going to talk about, but I personally think that he should use this to declare a national emergency, which is something that cannot be fooled around with like an executive order, i.e. tied up in the courts. So you can't confuse the two. Traditional executive orders can be challenged in court, but a national security emergency is a whole different animal that can't be challenged in court. There is a way to grab every element of the SAVE Act, voter ID, proof of citizenship, and strictly limiting mail-in voting, plus that idea adds many more important reforms for election integrity and rolls them all into a foolproof vehicle, which would be a national security emergency declaration. Again, not an EO, not an executive order. It's completely different. And this would this if this is in fact the route he's going to go, it would make sense as to why Democrats have got their panties in a wad right now, because they understand that this could be devastating. It would stop Democrats like the communist traitors who steal elections cold in their tracks from using foreign interference to hack machines, change vote totals, and outright steal elections. Because even if the SAVE Act passed, it does not address machine voter fraud. This is what people got to understand. This national security emergency would mandate voting by paper ballots. And this is how Americans voted from the beginning of our nation 250 years ago. And it works. We see it happen in other countries all the time, and they find out they're winners the next day. I would also, personally, if it was me, I would also include bans on ballot harvesting and ballot drop boxes, which are illegal in every other major country, because both practices lead to massive voter fraud. And this is, by the way, this is based on a serious emergency. It's based on foreign interference in U.S. elections. Our elections are being rigged and stolen by foreign enemies of the U.S. Donald Trump, hold this press conference tomorrow night. Lay it all out there. Lay the evidence out there and say, here's what I'm doing. Yes, we still want the SAVE Act to pass, but in the meantime, I'm laying these rules out there. This is not going to disenfranchise anybody. It is not going to take anybody that is legally allowed to vote off a voter roll. It is not going to stop people from showing up at the polls. People aren't going to be turned away. There are things in place, such as provisional ballots, that allow you to cast a vote while you get double-checked to make sure you're legitimate. But it also secures the elections. And if he goes that route, get ready for the biggest damn blow up you have ever seen in your life by the left, because that is literally all they've got. And I will be here for every bit of that meltdown. Please and thank you. Give me more. Ernest Financial, retirewithernest.com, retirewithernest.com. My buddy David Ernest. They also do the Health and Wealth Show in the mornings, 5 to 6 a.m. If y'all want to check that out, that's on the airwaves. I think they're on a bunch of stations, by the way. But David's a good dude. He's even though he's a radio guy, as he's got a radio show, he's more importantly, he's a financial planner. And he's a guy that's in the business of protecting people's retirements and helping it grow and everything else. So I want you to reach out to him. If you got over $50K in your retirement and you want to make sure that you're locked in and that money's going to be there and it's going to continue to grow, call him. He'll help you set everything up. Make sure you're in the perfect position to take advantage of your retirement and then kind of help you plan something out on how to navigate that stuff. It's so important. And a lot of people, anybody that's got a financial planner can tell you how important it is to make sure that money of yours is handled appropriately, because if you don't have that, you're not gonna handle it the right way, and you probably gonna run out of money a little too quick. So call him up. His number, 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-7233. Online, retirewithernest.com. I got Tony over in Pell City. What's up, Tony?
When is this war that is not over nuclear weapons, but the war is about oil and gas, when is this war going to be over that is 137 days in to this war that Trump said would only be 60 days? And then the other question I have is, how many Middle Eastern people own gas stations that is from the Middle East? And I will hang up and listen.
Okay. That's what they always do. I don't know what a Middle Eastern is, but I don't even understand the question.
If they're here legally, then they're American citizen.
Yeah, I mean, if they're a citizen, if they got citizenship or they're here legally, then they can do whatever they want to do. As far as the war, I wouldn't really classify it as a war, because the one side's just constantly getting pummeled. And we've talked about this. I don't have to sit here and rehash it. I mean, it's transpiring every day as we're essentially just in partnership with the Gulf states taking over the Strait of Hormuz. We are eliminating their capabilities on all fronts, not just nuclear capabilities, but we're just going to continue to hammer them until what little is left of their nuclear capabilities, which, as you know, is the nuclear dust, is taken out of there and destroyed. They've already been sent back. I mean, we could leave now and they would be sent back for, 10, 15, 20 years. But with what the administration is looking for, they're looking for them to cut a deal that will, and this is from my perspective. Obviously, nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes, and everybody's armchair quarterbacking about, it's this, it's that. It's like the phone call. This is about oil because we need Iran's oil. Yeah, sure we do. Why do we need Iran's oil now if we didn't need it before? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What is ultimately going to happen, and I believe what the administration is looking for, is for some sort of deal to be signed that will allow policing by Gulf state neighbors. Now, previously, the relationship between Iran and their neighbors weren't as strained. They kind of got along and were, for the most part, on the same page. But now that's completely out the window. And those Middle Eastern countries, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, they're all like, okay, we do have to get these guys under control because they are a nuisance and they're causing us problems and yada, yada, yada. And they obviously can't control the strait because the strait's not just Iran's oil passing through there. It's all those Gulf states and everything, every dock and every shipping facility that is in the Persian Gulf goes through that strait. So they want to set up a situation to where a deal is made by multiple parties. This is not just going to be the U.S. and Iran, but also these Gulf states where they're the ones managing that situation. They're the ones handling and making sure that Iran doesn't get back to doing what they're doing because they understand that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon either. They just can't. And some people will just dismiss it and say, well, if they want a nuclear weapon, well, we've got one. Okay, whatever you want to think, if that's what you want to, that's fine. That's it, but that's just going to be a difference of opinion. I personally don't think crazy people need powerful weapons that can cause that kind of damage. Okay? So it's just a bad idea. And if we're going to do something about it, let's do something about it. Iran has had all of our previous presidents by the balls. They've just tapped them along and BS'd them with these negotiations. And if Trump was like previous presidents, yeah, we'd be out of there. We would have taken their word on some BS deal. We'd have backed off and just said, okay, be my guest. But we're not. We're for the first time, we're not doing that. And that's a good thing for us, and it's a good thing for the rest of the world. Ron, real quick, what you got for me?
Hey, guys, man, last guy was a dumbass. And it's not a war that you put boots on the ground. But listen, about a week after we snatched Maduro, there's a woman that went on the Sean Ryan show, and she said, yes, this is about helping the Venezuelan people, but there's more to it. This guy is neck deep with she said, with Democrats and our voting issues, and I think he may be spilling the beans to cut a deal to save his own neck right now, and I think they may have the proof to hang some of these people. And secondly, they're trying to censor a national speech by a president. That tells you right there they're scared to death about what's about to come out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the communist way. Censor what you don't like, lie, do what your enemy's doing, and say that they're doing it. It's, wow, the Democrat Party is over. It's I cannot believe. I voted Democrat. I voted for Obama the first time. I didn't the second because I saw what he was. And I have not looked back to the Democrat Party, and ever since Obama, that party has imploded. They have become the party of racist, laziness, and just outright corruption.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends that were Democrats that voted for Biden, and they have opened their eyes finally and done some research and have become, I'm not going to say right-wingers or Trump fans, but they have moved to the right.
Yeah.
The Republican Party right now is what the left was in the 90s and early 2000s.
No, I agree with that. And, Ron, I appreciate the call. I agree with that 100%. The right has moved more towards the center than ever, and it's a place that the Democrats used to be.